Did you hear the news? Donald Trump is coming back. And this time, he's not just talking about border walls or shouting, "Make America great again." Nope. He's aiming for something much bigger, something that's making the whole world go, "Wait, what?" He wants to raise import tariffs. And we're not talking about a little bump. He's talking about tariffs as high as 60% on Chinese goods. 60%. You didn't miss here. If you've ever bought an iPhone, a laptop, or even a fridge that says "Made in China," buckle up, because if Trump gets his way, prices aren't just going up, they're launching into orbit. But the real question is, why? Why would Trump, a businessman who once sourced product from all over the globe, suddenly want to slap a toll booth on every container ship? Is it because he hates China? Is it just a political move? Or is there something deeper going on? A strategy that, if you actually understood it, might just change how you see the entire global economy? Let's start with the basics. An import tariff is a tax on foreign goods. The logic is simple. Make foreign stuff more expensive so domestic products look more attractive. If a washing machine from China costs $300 and Trump hits it with a 60% tariff, it suddenly costs $480. Meanwhile, a US-made washer that used to seem overpriced, now it's looking like a solid deal. And just like that, American factories get a fighting chance. Sounds simple, right? But behind the curtain, this is a massive game of chess. When Trump talks about raising tariffs, he's not just waving a flag for American factories. He's sending a message: "Hey China, play fair." For decades, China has been the world's factory, using cheap labor, massive subsidies, and super relaxed environmental rules to flood global markets. The result? Millions of US manufacturing jobs vanished, especially in places like Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, once the beating heart of America's industrial base. Now you get why blue-collar workers love Trump. For them, tariffs aren't just about economics. They're about pride, about taking back what they lost, about a man who finally seems to be fighting for them, not just talking about them on TV. But that's just the surface. Trump's got his eye on something even bigger: economic independence. COVID-19 showed everyone how vulnerable the US really is. The world's top economy suddenly found itself desperate for basic stuff: masks, medicine, computer chips, all made overseas. Trump saw it clearly. You can't be a strong nation if your survival depends on your competitors' factories. So this time, Trump isn't playing around. In late 2023, he rolled out a new proposal: a universal baseline tariff. That means import taxes on everything, not just China. If a country manipulates trade or plays dirty, Trump says, fine, they'll face even higher taxes. On top of that, he wants to reward US companies that buy American by giving them tax credits. Basically, play by the rules, get a cookie. Outsource too much and get smacked with a bill. You might be wondering, wait, doesn't that mean prices go up for regular folks? Yep, and Trump knows that. But he's betting that American workers, especially middle and working class voters, are willing to pay a little more at the store if it means the factory down the road opens back up. Economists, of course, are losing their minds. They say tariffs fuel inflation, hurt trade, and slow down growth. But Trump's got his receipts. During his first term, even with tariffs, the US economy grew and unemployment hit a 50-year low. He points to that and says, see, told you it works. And the data backs him up. According to the US Census Bureau, in 2022, America imported over $536 billion worth of goods from China, but only exported $153 billion. That's a trade deficit of $383 billion. To Trump, that's robbery. They sell to us, they take our money, and then use it to build tech and military power to compete with us. How dumb is that? He shouted during a rally in Iowa. What makes Trump effective is that he doesn't sugarcoat things. He doesn't babble about global cooperation or multilateral agreements. He talks like a guy at the poker table. If the game sucks and you keep losing, change the damn rules. And that's exactly what he's doing in the global trade game. Now, let's be real. Tariffs are a double-edged sword. If the government slaps taxes on imported materials, US businesses that rely on those imports will feel the squeeze. Their costs go up. They pass that cost to you. Prices rise. And yes, your favorite gadgets, and shoes might get more expensive. But that's part of Trump's strategy. He wants to force companies to bring production back home. If importing gets too expensive, suddenly building a factory in Wisconsin looks like a smart move again, and it's not just talk. Trump has gone after big corporations too. He's called them out for chasing profits in China, cutting U.S. jobs, and selling the finished products back to Americans at jacked up prices. I'm going to make it too expensive for them to keep doing that, he said. And guess what? Some companies are already shifting gears. Apple, Intel, even Elon Musk at Tesla are rethinking their supply chains and putting more investments inside U.S. borders. You know who hates all this? China. Because if the U.S. pulls back, they lose their biggest customer. When Trump first raised tariffs, China fired back. Tariffs on U.S. goods, slashing agricultural purchases, shopping elsewhere. It looked like a trade war. But here's the twist: Trump didn't back down. Why? Because America is still the biggest spending machine on earth. Over 330 million people, high wages, trillions in annual consumption. Nobody wants to lose access to that. And that's why in 2020, after all the back and forth, China sat down to negotiate. The result? A Phase 1 trade deal, where China agreed to buy more American stuff. Trump called it a win, and farmers in swing states nodded in agreement. Even better for Trump, the Biden administration kept most of those Trump-era tariffs in place. That's right, his biggest political rival quietly admitted, okay, maybe those tariffs weren't so bad after all. Trump had shifted the entire national conversation. Suddenly, even Democrats were talking about reshoring, rebuilding, and reducing reliance on China. Trump's America First approach became more than a slogan. It became the playbook. Since 2021, the U.S. has passed new laws pouring billions into domestic manufacturing, including the CHIPS Act to boost American-made semiconductors. And who planted the seeds for all this? Yep, the Donald. But tariffs are more than just economic tools. To Trump, they're political weapons. If a country refuses to play nice, he threatens tariffs. If they cooperate, he'll cut them some slack. It's classic negotiation, stick and carrot. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the guy knows how to make people sweat at the bargaining table. At the same time, he's tapping into something deeper. The American middle class is shrinking. Families are feeling the pinch. And any leader who promises to bring jobs back, even if it costs more at the checkout, sounds like a hero. Trump knows that. He's not speaking to hedge fund managers. He's speaking to folks who work in factories, drive trucks, run diners. And that message, it lands. Let's be honest, Trump may not be everyone's cup of tea. But one thing's for sure, he talks money in a way regular people understand. While other politicians quote economists, Trump sounds like your uncle who runs a small business and hates getting ripped off. And Americans respect that straight talk. But make no mistake, tariffs are risky. Done wrong, they backfire. They spike inflation. They slow down consumer spending. And America's already walking a tightrope. Between 2020 and 2023, grocery prices shot up by more than 20%. If tariffs push prices even higher, voters could turn on them fast. That's why this isn't a hammer you swing without thinking. It's more like a loaded gun. You better know where you're aiming. Still, if anyone's bold enough to pull the trigger, it's Trump. He doesn't care about what Wall Street says. He doesn't care about praise from economists. He cares about results and about looking like the guy who acts while everyone else just talks. Because at the end of the day, tariffs aren't just about money. They're about power. They're about America saying, we're done getting played. For decades, the U.S. followed the free trade rulebook. But that book wasn't written for this new era, where rivals play dirty and supply chains are weapons. Trump's rewriting the rules. And the world? It's watching every move. So why does Trump want to raise import tariffs? Because he's not just fighting for jobs. He's fighting for control, for leverage, for a future where America doesn't have to ask permission or rely on anyone. Whether you like him or not, you've got to admit, the game he's playing isn't checkers. It's chess. High stakes, global chess. And Trump's already making his next move.